So welcome back, bro. Now today I want to talk about HTML block and inline elements. Now I want to talk about HTML block elements. A block level element always starts on a new line, and the browser automatically adds some space. The space here is called the margin space, which is the margin before and after the element. So now some example of block level or block level elements, we have the div. Now when I mean a div, basically, now inside a div, now for example, we have two commonly block elements. We have the p tag, which is the paragraphing, and the div. So now div and paragraphing tag, the example of inline element. So when I use the word p tag here is an example of a block level element, in the sense that it automatically add a margin to the elements. It add the margin to the elements. Another one is called div. I think I will make use of div. Okay, we have make use of div. So now if I come here and I created something like div, then inside the div I can say p, anyone. So div here means that an example of block element. Why? Because it add a space or a margin before and after the element. So it add a margin before and after the element. We have basically a lot of example of a block level element. For example, now we have the address. Now if you want to know the address of let us say popular address, maybe or maybe if you want to write address, so you can come by saying let us say address. So when you write address, this is an address, so you can come by saying p. Okay, let us say Delta State, for example. So when I save this, let me run this on live server. Okay, running this on live server is going to open. We have a lot of block level elements. We have the aside, we have aside, we have canvas, we have div, we have a footer. I know it now. It is written in address. This is an address. If you look at it here, basically add a margin, a little margin in here. So in here I have this is an address. You're trying to write an address using the address tag. And that one is called the footer. I can come by saying footer. I say you can come here and declare a footer. Okay. You can say footer. So if you want to write a footer, you can say the footer here. You can say copyright. You can say p. You can say copyright. For example, maybe a website copyright, or here and then footer level. So copyright at. Now to write that is to say hash, just watch hash. So ampersand. Ampersand copy. So I know see it now. We have ampersand copy 2017. You can see the website name is called Donatex, for example. So when you save this, so all these are example of block level element. So just watch. I know it now. This is written using a footer. Let me get it now. So this is written using a footer. We have a lot of them. We also have the nav, we have the list. Now when I mean the nav, I can come by and write a nav. So inside the nav I can say our nav. So inside the nav I can come here. Okay, I can come by saying the I. Let us see you can basically write UI on that list and list two items, but let us use I. Let us say home. I'm going to put it now. Let us say home. I can come and put a slash, a slant. So I can come by saying slant. I can come by saying I. So I come here about. So if I save this is an example of a block level element. I know now I have the home and the about. So it's an example. I'm using a nav. Remember, I use the I tag. I use the I tag, which is for the one of italic. So basically, I can override this by using a nav. For example, now I can use a nav here. I I say by using another list. So another list we have something like this. So I can say li. So I'm listing an item by saying home. So I come here by saying li. I can say about. So I save this and I show this. I know it now. So this is an example of how it is written. So all these are example of block elements. Now let us move on to inline element. Now the inline element here is that does not start on a new line. Likewise, the block level doesn't start on a new line. For example, we have the link tag, we have which is the A, we have the acronym, we have the BDO, we have the we have the beta, which we don't know, bold, button, code, or image, which is img tag, select. They don't start on a new line. Even the strong tag, sub tag, time tag, variable tag, they don't start on a new line. Likewise, one of the block level elements. Let me figure out it now. So now this is for non block and inline. Now let's talk about HTML classes and IDs. Now when I talk about HTML classes and IDs, now for example, now I can come by saying okay, let us say something like maybe you want to start this nav. Now I can come by saying ID. So ID, I can give the ID any name. Let us say nav, for example. I give it a nav. Now when you come to your CSS, you are taking it to CSS. So when you come to your CSS, all you have to do is just to say hash. Just watch hash. Then the name, which is nav, that you give, hash. So ID is for nav, is for hash. Then classes is for dot. So when I say nav, come by saying let us give a background color. For example, now let's give you a background color. Okay, background color. So we say okay, aqua. So I save this. So I come here. Now look at it now. It has the background color, which is this. Why? Because I use the ID name. Let us say, for example, maybe you just want to maybe something like this. You can say, you can even do something like okay, you can even come in by saying nav uili. It's also the same thing. I don't think I'm right now. It's also the same thing. So basically, which is this. So but when it comes to something like classes, how do you run classes? Now to run classes, to change it, so say class. So you save it, then you come to your index, your CSS, then change it to dot. So which is dot nav. So I can basically come by saying, okay, let us change the background color to something like gray, for example. So we're going to come here. I know it's not a change. So why? Because we're playing with classes, HTML classes and IDs. I don't know if this is clear. Okay, now let us talk about HTML semantics. Now what do we mean by HTML semantics here? Semantic element clearly describes its meaning to both the browser and developer. So we have semantic and non-semantic element. So for example, now we have the div and span is an example of non-semantic element. Why? Because they don't write meaning, they tell nothing about in content. So if I specify something like div here does not specify, does not say anything about the website. I don't figure my point. So as span does not also specify anything about its own element. So but when it comes to semantic element write about, clearly defines its content. For example, now when I use table as an example of semantic element, so if I specify table here, if I specify this table, since I specify the table as tag, basically when you write the table here, when it comes to the website, you see that a table is created. So that is why it is called semantic element. Another semantic element is called form. Now if I want to create a form, for example, I can come by saying form, I can declare form. So when I come to form, I say form. When I specify form, so in here I can say input. Okay, when I specify input, I can say type. So I can say text. So in here, when I save this, now let us run this now. Let us do this open on live server. So this will now open on live server. I know it now. This is a place where you can fill your form. I don't know if you can right now. It's a place where you can fill your form. Don't know if you can point. So why? Because they are called semantic elements. So semantic element clearly defines its meaning to the website. For example, now if you specify something like article is an example of semantic element. I come in now, for example, let me specify an article here. I can say something like, okay, let me come aside this. I can say article. So why? Because I want to write an article. So I come in by saying P. Let us say hello Vanguard newspaper. So I say Vanguard newspaper. So in here, let us put this now. Live server. So I know, just watch. This is an article. This is how an article is being written. So this is an article. I can basically come here and say, okay, maybe I want to write it. Let me remove the p tag. Okay, let me remove the p tag. Let's save this. It's inside the article. So I know it now. Also got the same. So it writes, it clearly defines or tells its meaning to the website. I don't think I'm better now. So these are example of semantic element. We also have aside, we have details, we have figure capture, we have figure, we have footer. All this will be we talked about in our last video of HTML basics. So this is it. This is an example of what called semantic and non-semantic element. Another one is called a section. Section is an example of semantic element. So it's in a section you can write a lot of things. A section talks about, for example, now inside the section this one to want to write, inside the section this one to want to write. I don't get my point now. So for example, now you can come here by say section. Maybe I want to create a different nav. I'm coming by saying section, for example. So inside the section I want to create my nav bar, my navigation bar. So inside this nav bar I will come here and say UL, which is for unordered list. So inside the unordered list, can say li, can say home. Now this one here, in the sense that you are putting everything here inside the section. So this one will now have its own sections. So you use section to group an item, use section to group an element. I don't know if you know my point now. So why? Because I use sections on it. So you can use sections on your website here and then. So another thing I want to talk about. Okay, we are going to end this class here so that tomorrow and next tomorrow we finish HTML basics. So see you in the next tutorial. Thank you.